I see Deborah behind at the lounge, just rocking it whenever the intro is going on. But happy International Women's Day, y'all. How is everyone doing? I don't need to ask because I know how the powerful warrior women in the house is doing. Some of you are driving to 1 o'clock in the morning. Professor Mimmie, I know where she were in the country. Deborah, I know where you were and working hard all week, actually, your program. And Liz has only just gotten back to her country, driven hours. So thank you so very much, ladies, for tuning in and being an amazing woman. And to everybody that is watching us, thank you for watching. Today is going to be powerful and just tuning in. I'm going to introduce the people on this page because it's an honor and a privilege to have these amazing women, and I celebrate them, really, really celebrate them. Their bios, I read it, I'm like, I mean, people see them on LinkedIn and everything, but for the benefit of people that might not know them, I have to read some of the profiles. But once I'm gonna quickly get Liz back on. Miss Greatness, how are you, Miss Greatness? Welcome
Yeah,
back.
thank you very much. That
So yeah, I need to quickly read because of time. I want to quickly introduce Deborah Dickinson to you. Uh, you might have seen Deborah. Deborah is there. Yeah, I just put the glasses. So the name is clearly there. But Deborah is a feminine warrior. Deborah Dickinson is a mindset coach, speaker, transformational leader dedicated to helping career-driven women. No wonder she breaks the barrier, she breaks through the limitation and lead with confidence and purpose. She lives a life of purpose. A former corporate executive, Deborah climbed from factory floor worker, hear me out, to general manager in a male dominated industry, only to realize she was climbing the wrong mountain, chasing external success without fulfillment. She's born in New Zealand of Maori descent. Deborah's life was shaped by profound loss when she lost her mother at just 11 years old. This tragedy led to years of survival mode, navigating teen motherhood, early marriage, and a high pressure corporate world. Despite her achievement, she found herself disconnected, searching for meaning beyond titles and financial success. Her breakthrough came when she dismantled limiting beliefs, reconnected with her purpose, and reclaimed her power. Today, as a founder and deliberately living you, Deborah empowers high achieving women, one of them, entrepreneurs, executives, and professionals to break free from self imposed limitation, align with their values, and building lives of confidence, clarity, and fulfillment. Through our signature coaching program, keynotes, and transformational frameworks, Deborah blends neuroscience, leadership training, and heart-centered practices, ensuring women not only achieving success but creating impact and legacy. Who don't want to listen to that? Please help me to welcome Deborah
thank
Dickens.
you.
Welcome, welcome, Deborah. I'm going to quickly read Professor Miss Mimmie's one. Professor Mimmie Watts, Professor Mimmie there. You can see the book behind her. She's got all the books. And look at me. I mean, everybody's got something behind them but me. Anyway, Watts of Federal University, Australia. She's a highly experienced public health expert and academics with a strong focus on curriculum development, health policy, migrant health, leadership, international collaboration in higher education and business ventures. Professor Watts holds a PhD in public health from La Trobe University, Australia, and a Masters of Public Health from the University of Melbourne, Australia. Professor Watts completed the Emerging Executive Women in Health Leadership program at Harvard University, USA. She's a dynamic public health expert and academic. Professor Watts is passionately passionate about human development, inclusion, I can vouch for all this, early motherhood, and chronic disease prevention management. Our commitment to global health, to education, and to leadership continues to shape a brighter and healthier future for communities worldwide. Professor Mimmie, she's a chair, Australian Union Commission. No, let me start. She's a chair, Australian chapter, Australian Science Research and Innovation Council, ASRIC, African Union Commission, amongst other governance roles. She's an advocate for advancement for women in higher education and science. She's an accomplished author with several scientific journal articles. Her name include the wide read book, Sarah Piercing, The Touch, Sealing, The Most Impactful. I mean, go to what is it called? LinkedIn. That's where you're gonna get the most. But please help me welcome Professor Mimmie. If I want to continue to read Professor Mimmie's profile, we're not gonna leave this place for today. But you're gonna do me a honor to recognize Dr. Remi Yusuf, my own president. Dr. Remi Yusuf, PhD, is a psychotherapist and educator. She's the immediate past president and the first female president of the Nigerian Society of Victoria NSV, and the current chair of the Council of Nigerian Association Presidents in Australia, KUNAPA, which is the apex leadership forum for all Nigerian national association across Australian states and territories. I'm blessed. She's a regional advisory council member for the Victoria Multicultural Commission for the Baobab Shire Council in the Eastern Victoria. She was the first person of sub-Sahara African origin to run for local government election in the Shire Council to promote participation, inclusion, multiculturalism. Remi lived and worked in different countries, including South Africa, Canada before migrating, Nigeria before migrating to Australia. Can you please help me to welcome my president, Dr. Remi Yusuf, and my own girlfriend, Liz Greatness. She is we call them the bench table of this program, so she doesn't need any introduction. But now she has changed a trajectory of her career. She's now a trauma therapist. Of course, she's always been a personal life development life coach. She's also working in the regional Australia, where she's holding a fantastic portfolio, helping those women in trauma and the children coming from a traumatic area. Am I not blessed on this platform? I hope everybody is blessed to have my people. Please give me greatness a great big hand of applause. I'm really privileged. It's an honor to have you today. And I hope everybody is waiting to hear from the people that have been there, done that. And I have to read the bios because I know a lot of people will be able to identify with you guys. You might say I'm a hell, raising teenager, teen mothers, and all sort of things from grass to grace. So let me go on a quick break. When I come back, you're going to hear from our amazing ladies on the platform. We'll be back. Welcome back on the show. Finally, happy International Women's Day. Can I firstly recognize Professor Mimmie? Thank you for being who you are. A lot of people don't know what you do, but some of us we've known you for so many years. We know that you do what exactly you say you do. When you say you empower women, you support women, you just want women to prosper, like everyone on the platform. but you do, and particularly today, you made it happen because we're going to procrastinate it. We're going to do another program that no, today we have to celebrate women, and all the women say yes, we have to do it. So, thank you, Professor Mimmie Watts.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very honored. And it's wonderful to celebrate with you, Mama Sister Temi, and all the work that you do in the leadership space, but really bringing all of us together at such short notice. And to all the audiences out there, happy International Women's Day. I acknowledge Dr. Remi, Madam Deborah, and Madam Liz, who are on the platform with me here today. Thank you for the acknowledgement.
We appreciate it. We know that you've been talking, now that I got you've been talking about accelerate action. So I think that's what we all want to hear, and everybody have you've got your area of expertise where you want to come in uh, with. But since you've been talking about this, and I read few things, especially you're talking about Professor Mathia Wagaris. I recognize and I've read few bits about that woman, how powerful she is. She's a woman that lived a quality life and made her life count. And I believe that's the same purpose we're chasing. But when we say accelerate action, what does that mean? Because I was actually asking few ladies accelerate action, and they were a little confused about what does that mean. I have my idea, but I just want you to open it to us.
Thank you for that. I guess when we talk about accelerating action, just a few days ago, I wrote an article online, and it was about think about all of us collectively unleashing the power of every girl and every woman in the world today, not tomorrow. Think about all of us igniting our own collective power and really working as collaborators, not only about building our individual selves, but really holding the hands of others and bringing them along. And when you think about the Black woman in particular, women, they don't just rise. Black women don't rise. They actually revolutionize things. Why? Because when you look at their leadership, regardless of setting, right? And that includes today in terms of accelerating things. When you see a Black woman in that room, in so many places, she has worked not just twice, she works more than twice as hard. And I think if we, that for me, accelerating action is ensuring that there is a lot of equity and that those women, they work at the same level as the others rather than finding themselves where they almost burnt out. So accelerating action is about bringing others along, not just us, but also really thinking about the legacies of tomorrow. What is it that you want to leave behind? And what is it that you want to be remembered for? Every time you sit around the table, you need to think about the other people who are going to come after you to fill that space. And always remember, as a woman, if you are not sitting around the table, then you're probably part of the menu.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Oh my gosh. Wow, I love that. So we have to act, and I think the main thing is now, and to make the legacy. I've got my point, but I'm not going to say it now because when we hold every girl, I'm just thinking there's no leadership without followership. Sometimes these followers are they easy for us to hold? Are they really keen and are they receptive to mentorship? So I think one thing I'm going to go to is the root cause, or maybe also suggestive management, how this can work, because we've been fighting this for a long time. Like Professor Matthias has been doing this as well. Even in Nigeria, we know one of the greatest women that fought the presidency, that fought the nation, that fought for the nation, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti. Those people, they've turned them to history and no one was trying to follow their footpath. But I'm going to go to root cause as well. So um, I'm going to get Professor Dr. Remi Yusuf. What can you say to that, please?
Thank you for having me, and I want to acknowledge my fellow panelists and all the work that we have been doing, in our own capacity to empower other women. And when we talk about women, the narrative of being a woman in the past has been changing. And you're saying that I should talk about the root cause of accelerating action. Most of the time, we remain where people want us to remain. We don't want to, because we have been put in a box as a woman, and we've been dictated to be a mother, a wife, a cleaner, a cook, a follower, and all of these things put together. And we have remained there for a long time. And we were trained to be there, regardless of the situation. And if we try to get ourselves out of this box that we have been put into, then we are giving other names like you are rebellious, or you are not respectful, or any other thing negative that can denote being a woman will be called that. But let me use this Ransom Kuti, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, that you mentioned before. She was killed actually for being radical about women's rights, because she beat the stereotype of not being women not being able to drive. She drove. She was in trouble for that. Now, how many of us can just drive freely anywhere?
Right.
She pioneered that for the women in Nigeria. So those are, the stereotypes are the major things. And for us remaining in that stereotypical identity that was given to us as women is what I think we need to accelerate the action to remove the stereotypes and be able to be ourselves. These days we talk of SMART goals. How do we set our SMART goals to be able to accelerate the action for women's empowerment, especially, and be celebrated and be who you want. What are your goals as a woman? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve that to be able to be the stereotypes of the box that we are put into? Thank you.
I like that. Put us in the box. Thank you so much. I have my own comment. But Miss Greatness, what is accelerating action for this year? What does that mean?
Yeah, thank you very much, Temi, for the opportunity again to be a part of this panel, to be on the show, and welcome to all the other ladies who are joining us today. We're really honored to have you with us today as we accelerate action, even right here on the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, 2025 accelerating action, really a commendable theme that we have for this year. And for me, it becomes a personal issue because I'm a personal development coach. It takes me back to what can an individual really do to look at this theme and make it happen for themselves, make it practical for themselves, and implementable for themselves, because there are so many barriers, as the previous two speakers have already almost mentioned. There are barriers to accelerating action. There are barriers to gender equality. And as a matter of fact, the World Health, not the World Health, World Economic Forum does actually say in some of the research that at the rate of progress that we are making with regards to gender equality, we will only achieve gender equality during 2158. And they are actually saying that's a good about 5 generations down the line. So, but by that time, all 5 of us on this panel will not be here.
Okay.
In the meantime, while we are on our way to the year 2158, there is a lot of change that's going to happen, both internally and externally. And we need to find ourselves within the scheme of these things and be able to have what it takes to do our little bit now.
Mhm.
And that brings me back personally to the drawing board to do my own SWOT analysis. Where am I in the scheme of things now? The ability to bring ourselves back to where we are. And do I have everything? Are there areas I need to develop to be able to collaborate with those that are equally within the space and doing something in order to contribute towards gender equality? So it brings me back to the drawing board. And that is my encouragement to the listeners, particularly in the space of personal development. Bring yourself back to the drawing board, do your own SWOT analysis, get to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats, internally as well as externally, so that you are able to set yourselves up first and foremost for understanding what is the action that you want to that you want to accelerate, which are the groups that you want to align yourselves with, so that you are a part of a team that can contribute towards the collaborative effort. And I think that's what I want to stop for now.
That's good. That's good. I'm hearing, to collaborate. Very, very important. I know that all the women on this platform, all of you have told me one time or the other that we should collaborate, because when you are doing something on your own, you think it's little, you can't see the effect of it, and you might not think you're doing anything at all. But if you get women of like minds with you to support you and be part of your tribe, to actualize whatever you're doing, then you'll be more encouraged to keep doing. And also, I agree 100% that we have to find out what are those dreams that we have, write them down, and like Dr. Remi Yusuf said, they put you in the box. It's true. And some of the box we can't get out for a long, long time. You'll be a mother, you'll be crawling, you'll be a cook, you'll be a cleaner, you'll be your goal goes to the back bench most often than none, which is true. But when before we get to the place of actualization, we're tired. So I now say to people these days, even when you want to marry, I was advising somebody yesterday, you want to marry, you probably want to write your goals with your partner together, seal it with your life coach, with your marriage counselor, because what happens is women, we get so dissuaded so easily, we get carried away. Love for the kids, we can be crying, my kid, my husband, we carried away. Men are very steady. They know what they want. Irrespective of who is there, they'll go get it. But we are too much emotional and sometimes irrational. So now I'm saying to me, I'm not saying competing or fighting, but hold down your goals, your life desire, and find somebody that could work with you, hold your hands to actualize it, rather than following somebody's shadow all your lives. So I'm going to go on a quick break, and then we'll be Mrs. Deborah Dickinson. We'll be back. Welcome back on the show. Thank you so much all for watching. And for the people that wants to come on the platform, can you please text us something we could see the text live, and let us know whatever somebody else is said reconcile with you, and you want to comment, I will bring you on the show. Please, you can type something if it resonates with you. Mean to say, Deborah. Amazing. Can you please shine your light into this accelerate action?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, I'm going to say again, thank you very much, Temi. This is an amazing opportunity to be part of and to share the room with these amazing women on the platform. I already feel like the accelerated action has taken place. I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. So thank you very much. This is just amazing to be part of. So accelerate action. I mentioned earlier that sometimes that can feel like a really big word for some women, and that can be the first stumbling block. I so resonated with what everybody else has said here, Dr. Remi, about being in the box, and I remember very clearly myself. It's like I never thought to peer over the fence, thinking that there was something different, because I was so used to my own surroundings. I was so used to the comfort of that box that I didn't realize by just peering over the side of that box that there is so many more opportunities. And yeah, absolutely collaborating together. Be at the table, and if the table's not right for you, create your table. And this is, for me, this is what it's about. And I really advocate for the woman where I came from, where higher education wasn't part of a conversation that we had in our family, because we were the workers. We just worked. My father worked so hard to support the family, and so did my mum until I lost her. But the woman that came after worked hard. So really advocate for we are all part of each other when we find our group, when we find the woman that we really grow with, and I think that's the other thing too, is helping each other grow together, regardless of where we have come from, started from, or heading towards. Collectively, we can grow together. And I just, as I was listening to everybody, just on Saturday, I was part of an international women's group, delivering and just setting a conversation piece for women to just talk about whatever they wanted. Now, the conversation was great. We had some amazing people being very vulnerable and sharing what they'd been through, where they're at, and things like that. But at the end, what I realized was that, because we had women from 75, 76 years old to somebody as young as 25. And what I really acknowledged was that seeing the difference in that 50-year gap was that the older ladies in the room said that, I feel hope when I look at the younger women in this group who are taking charge and standing up for them, regardless of all the obstacles in their way. She said, I'm hopeful for the future. And that kind of just summed it up for me. Exactly. As long as we're empowering the women before us, our daughters, to step out of the box and own their space, we have hope for our future. So that's what I wanted to add.
I really like that. For me too, I want to see hope for the future. And thank God for what all of you on this platform are doing. Thank God. Everybody's got a story. Professor Mimmie did not become a professor overnight. I don't know how many chains she's broken. If I may say this, I was talking to one person yesterday and I said, not a lot of women have got it together. And the ones that have got a little bit, we don't share nothing. And I said, Professor Mimmie, I'm going to say, she said, oh, it's because Professor Mimmie married Dr. Watts. Dr. Watts is an Englishman that if I'm sorry, but this is what they're saying. So they're saying it out there. I might as well say it here. That if Professor Mimmie had married somebody from where she came from, she's not going to achieve whatever she's achieved today. And Professor, Mimmie, you always say that when you sit at the table with the men, I know you go to world conferences, internet. What is it that we do? Kofi Annan, it just came my mind. Kofi Annan was the president once. UN. You go to the UN, you go to all these places, you sat with the men and you say you're comfortable sitting. And did you just start like that? Because people want to know, they're thinking you're too much. We don't want to go to where she got to. But you didn't start like that today. Can you How did you accelerate your own thing? Tell us.
I guess, thank you so much. When, for example, men do certain things in leadership, people applaud them that they're great leaders. When it's women, they talk about that woman being aggressive, right? And these are some of the stereotypes. Just like when a woman is a high achiever, then most often than not, oh, it means she doesn't do other things, or she may not have a family or children or married. And I have ticked all of those boxes. It is about organizing yourself. And you said something before uh, in terms of when couples want to get married, really working together and really thinking and aligning their goals, right?
Yeah.
Okay, men have always known what they want, and they will go for it and they'll get it.
Yes.
Unlike women, we have followed and we still continue to follow, right? And any woman who probably knows what she wants, again, is called stubborn, or in certain situations, gold diggers. Why? Because they ask the critical questions that others do not ask. I migrated to Australia as a skilled migrant. And I say this to people, I arrived on the 6th and I was at work on the 8th of December. But I quickly realized that there were confines that I was not going to operate and build a life within. I am a woman, therefore, and I was a mother of 2 children who were young children. I was a young mother. I had my first daughter at 20. People know my claim to fame is always saying to people, I'm Sherry Rose's mother, and my 3 children, I call each of them a degree. And it is true. But then within 2 years, I enrolled in a Master's of Public Health at the University of Melbourne. Once I became a resident, a permanent resident, and literally they sent me a letter to ask me if I wanted to become a permanent resident, because I did not think I should have applied before coming into the country. So, and I knew exactly probably what I wanted, but why? Because I came from a family where my father had not gone far in education because he was an orphan. But what he ensured was that the girls and the boys, anybody who had the capability in a particular area, he supported you. And he knew I was very academic. So I never ever felt the discrimination, whether I was a girl or anything. I tend to say to people, I found out I was a girl and that I was a Black woman when I migrated to Australia. Before that, I was just another person doing what I think human beings should do. Hence, that was really, really important because that shaped my early life. That confidence shaped who I am today and still continues. And for the record, my father, when he was here and I was a mother, married with 3 children, I was a lecturer at Victoria University. In America, it means you say professors from a very early age, but with us, it's different. But I entered the university in my 20s, which is pretty young for a lot of people, but regardless of background. But they saw the potential in me, and that was nurtured through different frameworks. But my dad, even at that level, me being a full-time university lecturer, and then doing my PhD at La Trobe, my dad visiting would come with me to the university. And while I'm having my meetings with my PhD supervisors, my father will have my son, Mikey, in a pusher. But then I had a lot of support even as an adult woman. And I think that is something we should take with us, because if you don't have that level of support and background, but also I've experienced challenges in my own personal and professional life. As a young academic, I barely found any woman who looked like me in any academic spaces. So I had to forge my own path. But then I've become very, very purposeful that in forging that path, I am going to bring others along. And because I am very purposeful, I ensure that I look at the young academics. I make sure that not only young academics, but other people who are maybe studying or doing work in other areas that require mentorship, creating opportunities, but also because I know that if we can bring Black women together, harness their potential, we are going to break every barrier rather than trying to do it alone. because I know we need to mentor other, we need to create ecosystems, we need to create businesses, we need to look at the path to education. And we know the more you learn, the more you earn. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful in businesses, but also as Black women, we need to be very, very purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be confident, and don't be afraid that they're going to say she's stubborn, she's loud, or what. That is expected. I actually joke sometimes that if those adjectives are not used against you, that means you're really doing something wrong sometimes. So you
I,
really need to, you don't have to be rude, but literally you have to reflect on your own practice. And because when we lead with purpose, we don't just change the game, we rewrite the rules, not only for now, but for future generations as well.
Amazing. Thank you so very much. I hope people are getting that straight, into their being, into their fabric. But, I still hold the fact that a whole lot of people that I'm talking to, they struggle right now in terms of some of them, like I said, they are building with their husbands or their partner. They get to a stage, they now said, can I start to build? And the partner is like, no, but they were still raising the kids. They haven't finished reading yet. And then when you say, no, I have to do it, the end result is likely to be a divorce. And when you divorce at a younger age, because these are the kind of things that stop us from accelerating. You're going to divorce because the men, the Bible that I know says the men are not good on their own. So that means the women are good to help them. So I think women are coming with too much power naturally that God gave them. And I believe a lot of men are intimidated by your power. Even whether you say nothing or you don't say nothing, they're already intimidated. So the ego thing is to pull you down. And if the men are not godly, if they are not schooled, I don't know what other word to use, there's tendency for them to pull you down. So it's very hard for any woman, for most women, to strive. How do you do? I'm going to talk to Deborah. How do you, because you're going to divorce, and then a lot of people are scared. Now, don't let me say scared. These days, people don't care. They want to divorce, right? You can go. But the thing is, if they go, they're not going to be able to get loan to build a house. They're not going to be able to get enough money to feed their kids, because some of the men, we know, I deal with them, they don't pay child support. They don't do, you're fighting. Or before you get there, you are in court every day and you are only 35. You are in court for like 10 years. They waste your money. These things is crazy. It's really crazy and it's very rampant. Then how are you going to be able to accelerate? Deborah, what do you think we could do in these times?
Yeah, look, so if I think of my story, when I was in, so I had a few relationships before I met the man of my life, my love life, and those when I look back at those relationships, I know that I stayed in them far too long. In fact, if I was truly honest with myself and stepping into my own power, those relationships should have been over and done with in between 6 to 18 months. But I stayed for 6, 7, 10 years because of those exact reasons that you talk about. I don't have the money to support my family. The banks won't support me. I'll have to go onto the benefit, and so all of these things are in our way. But I've got to say that when I had that moment for myself that it was up to me, it meant having to take that leap of faith and just trust in myself that I could find what I need to get to the next step. And sometimes that's all it is thinking is getting to the next step, not what in the future, how am I going to do all these big things that have already that have been a part of my support system. It's like, how do I get to the next step? So it is the accelerate action sometimes is, let's just take a step back and find the smallest step that propels us forward. And this is what I mean, what I said earlier, that sometimes accelerate action can just be a big word. Accelerate's a big word. Action's a big word. But if we take a breath and step back and just look at what is the one thing that can propel us forward, that is accelerating action. So, there's so much about, we talk about the men in our lives. So I just want to share very quickly, even for my father and my brothers, even me doing well or accelerating in what I did, it was like, well, how busy do you need to be? Don't forget you have children, these sorts of things. But again, through unconscious bias or conditioning around our societal ways, that's just how they saw life.
Wow.
And, you talk about schooling men. It is that thing. We do have to actually teach our men, teach our boys, teach our sons. And I think we had this conversation the other day, is teach our sons to respect your sisters, respect your mum, respect the females in your world. So yeah, it is this, together we have to rise.
You have to.
Together we have to educate and support each other. Behind every man's success, you can guarantee you will find a strong woman standing behind her, but now it's beside him, right? So so for me, it is bring our men along with us. And I can say, for my husband, having, he supports everything that I do. And that's just, I never ever thought that I would find somebody like that.
Love it. Love. Anybody can comment. You can come in if you want to. Some people are sending private chats. They say, Professor Mimmie, spot on. They're talking, but I can't put them on. Can you put it on Facebook or something like that so I can put it on? Accelerate action can be taken. See, if you put it on there on Facebook, we can see it. That's Tessie, one of our powerful women in the community, adorable woman, doing so much. You said something that they say, how much can you be? How busy? One time I said this, somebody was asking me, oh, Temi, you're so rich. How much money do you want? Have you been into my account? Do you know how much I have? How do you know I'm rich? Don't let us start this unbiased judgment or whatever. If God has given anybody energy, skills, ability to build, to support, and to be, let them be. I used to look at Professor Mimmie when Mimmie is traveling sometimes, I look at her on Facebook. I always say to people, Mimmie will go with like 10 suitcases. I'm like, where is she going? One day something got into me, like, keep quiet, That is somebody that is living a life of purpose, and she's got an adorable husband that supports her. If you go with one suitcase, be it. If Mimmie goes with 10, celebrate her. That is her life. Don't say somebody is busy pursuing purpose. If that was to be a man, I ask myself, will I say, where is he going? Is it because she's a woman? If God has given you this ability, go for it. Dr.
I want to, thank you. I want to piggyback on something that Professor Mimmie said, or I think it was you that said it, Temi, that people are saying that Mimmie was able to achieve what she's achieved because she's married to an Englishman.
Yeah.
No.
And I think, we need to start changing the mentality. Although I kind of agree with it, I'll give an example.
We mostly agree with this, let the truth be told.
Exactly. I'll give an example because sometimes it's not good to generalize. I want to give my own personal example. When I was growing up, we were nine children, and out of the 9 were 7 girls. I was the second. I was because my sister passed. Anyway, I went to the best primary school and secondary school, private school. And after my secondary school, my dad said, no, I got a job after secondary school as a radio presenter. So my dad was happy. I'm well educated in his eyes, enough for a girl. Otherwise, I won't get a husband if I'm too educated.
You'll be too much for a man.
I will be too
Love it.
much for a man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the mentality that if you are well educated, you will not get a suitable husband. And then even one of my aunties said, you will become too arrogant. No man will be able to contain you. So with time, when I got an admission to go to university, um, my dad said no, that you're not going. It was my mom. She then told me her story. My mom didn't my mom didn't have an education because she was a girl. She didn't Her brothers went to school,
Mm.
but she didn't because she was a girl. And my mom said to me, whatever education level you want to go to, I will be beside you. I will be behind you. I'll be in front of you, holding your hand. You just go for it. So I think if we look at that, we can actually immediately agree with the
Mental.
saying that with what people are saying about women being able to achieve because they're not married to maybe a man of color or an African man. And I think it's because of their own insecurity. Because to me, if your wife is highly educated, you are highly educated, or professionally, you both do well and you both complement each other, you have it benefits both of you. It benefits your children. It benefits your entire community because you'll be a role model to the whole community rather
Yeah.
than seeing your wife or your wife as a competitor because of your insecurity. Because all what the men, I think, I'm not saying all men, we're just having a conversation now around the saying
The
that
color.
women, yes, around the color. But
Yes.
then, if you are able to support your women,
Mm.
and your daughters will see that, and they will see that, okay, this is what my parents are doing. This is the right thing to do because they will be happy. Everyone in the family will be happy. But because they want to tip that balance, one person wants to be high and
Up.
mighty because of what you call, what you said earlier, Temi, because of their ego, and
Mm.
because they want to be in control constantly, because they don't want to lose their power, forgetting that power belongs to everyone.
That's right.
Power belongs to everyone. It depends on how you exercise that power. Even
Mm.
the children, they have power. We all have power.
That's
But
right.
how do we exercise the power? So when we talk about accelerating, what are the actions that we need to accelerate? How do we empower people to understand that you are important, no matter regardless of your gender, regardless of whether you're a mother, you're a wife, you're whatever box people put you into, you're still a person. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
Remi, and I have an ambition. And
Mm.
how do you want to help me fulfill that ambition? It doesn't have to be in the area of academics. It could be,
Mm.
you know, in the area of learning a trade, in the area of whatever you want to do. How do you help you to succeed in that? And I think that's that's what's important that we should be talking about to empower women, girls, not to settle for less. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to go into business, be the best. If you want
Yes.
to go into academics, be the best. If you want to go into trade, be the best. Whatever you want to be a hairdresser, be the best ever. You want to be a makeup artist, be the best. You want to be a nail, whatever it's
Technician.
called, technician, be the best at whatever you want to do,
Can I
regardless
just
of.
interject
Yes.
after you finish?
Yes,
Mm.
yes. So instead of putting yourself down because you're a woman, how how about you start prepping yourself and saying, yes, I'm a woman, I've got power, I can do this. How can I be the best? Who can I look up to? Approach them. Ask
Yes.
them what you can do to
Mm.
get to where you want to be,
Yeah.
to do what you want to. We are all the women on this platform,
Mm-hmm.
we are powerful women in our own rights.
Yeah.
how do we put ourselves out there more to be able to mentor other people to achieve their goals and to accelerate the goals that they might have in the background so that they
Yeah.
can come into fruition.
Yeah. Got my comment down. I will talk after. Go ahead, Mimmie.
Okay, thank you. Just setting because what you and Dr. Temi, friends to me, I thought I should address that. And also, I just looked at the book and I just because it was quite happy.
Oh, we can't see properly. Can you see, guys? Oh, that is Professor Wangridi. Yeah, Wangari.
It's of the women that was her because she was overeducated.
Mimi, we would love to hear you properly, but the reception, we couldn't see you properly. We couldn't see the picture. We couldn't hear you properly. Or is it just me?
It's still breaking.
It's breaking. I would love to hear that. The line is
Can you
breaking.
hear me now?
That sounds better.
A little better.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to press raise my voice.
That sounds better, absolutely.
That sounds better, but your picture is still fixated.
Is that
Maybe
No.
take off your video. Take off your video and
Because I don't want
we
us
can
to
hear you.
miss that point that you want to raise, because I know what point you were going to raise. Yes. That woman, amazing woman, that Professor Matai, she lost her husband in the process of our revolutionary movement. And
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Let's try again. Well, let me quickly go on a break. Maybe when I come back, we'll be a bit better. Let's go on a break. We'll be back. Welcome back on the show. Maybe we want to hear your comments.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Better? Yes.
Perfect. So I wanted to highlight the story of Wangari Maathai, and this is her biography unbound. And Wangari Maathai is the first woman in Central Africa and East Africa to earn a PhD. And the only reason her husband divorced her was because she was overeducated, and people started asking him who wore the pants. I encourage everybody. She's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and she started a movement. And go on my LinkedIn page. I actually wrote something about her on the 3rd of March, because that was Wangari Maathai Day. I was actually supposed to be in Madagascar, where there was a program with a few countries about her, but I couldn't because I had to teach. But just stepping back into some of what Dr. Remi and Madam Temi, Pastor Mrs. Temi did talk about in terms of my own journey. I left a marriage when I was in my early 20s. I first left when my daughter that I had at the age of 20 was 6 months old. And the family begged me to go back, and I went back. But I quickly realized, like some of what you have said, the insecurities and men who don't have vision and people who are insecure about themselves are going to hold you back. I was never going to have a master's degree. When my current husband met me, I was actually on my own, contented, living in my own space, in my own home. And I think I was like a month into finishing
Masters.
of my master's of politics at the University of Urban. And before we got together, and it was very clear before we even got together that I was on a path to get my PhD. And he wasn't insecure about that, because he had actually achieved for himself as well. So he understood what it meant to be a woman who had achieved. So I want to say to people, as a woman, when you give up your financial independence, you are done. And I think a lot of people know that. But also the support of your family is absolutely essential. My mother was very supportive. My brothers have always been very supportive. And unfortunately, this is our reality. Power still still lives in the hands of men, regardless of the setting around the world. And in Africa, and especially in our patriarchal societies, that is even more true today. And I think as a woman, you have to be collegial, you have to be respectful. I find that women who are educated hold values, hold relationships, even in a marriage, in a higher esteem than those that people think that are not educated. Why? Because I have a reputation to lose, right? So I am going to protect me. I am not going to behave properly because I am afraid of somebody. No, I have to protect myself first. And I think that is so essential. And I'll give an example when people talk about being submissive. If I choose to go somewhere, right? It is
Yeah.
because I don't want to go there because I can afford to go there,
Yeah.
right? Yes, that's being submissive. On the other hand, if you cannot go because your husband says no and you cannot afford to go, hence you are bound to stay, that is not being submissive, right? So you need to also think about,
That's being poor.
yeah, but it's not
That's
even
being
about
oppressed.
Depressed.
so it's not about even being poor, depressed. It is about showing that being submissive is not about education. It's not about the level of education. It is about the individual. And if you are in a relationship because you cannot maintain your current lifestyle, if you live on your own, then I think you really need to, because you are there not because you want to, but it's because you have to, and you need to really reflect about that. Is that are you in a relationship or are you in a situationship?
Oh my gosh. This is, I should have waited for now before I go on a break, but this is powerful. This is hurt. Are you not going to wherever you want to go to because you can't afford to, or because somebody says not to go? That is powerful. Thank you so much, Mimi, for sharing that. That is very honorable. Thank you. And also, Deborah, because the reason why our acceleration, we're not even starting, I know for a fact, is because we struggle with our life. We struggle to establish it until like 35. And because you have a life of purpose, some people, like you said, Remi, like some people are happy to be nail tactician. They are the richest, by the way. They collect my money every fortnight. I just pay them. There's no, they collect cash. These people are badly rich. So whatever you want to do, you do it well. But I don't want to say too much. I think, Liz, you got to say something. Let me just stop. Some people are saying, thank you, ladies. We surely need men for us to accelerate, to be on the same page. And they were acknowledging all of you, but it's going on to private, so I can't share it. But thank you, Teresa is also commenting. Time is good. I want Liz to say, contribute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is there an echo? Oh, okay, good.
We can
Yeah,
hear you.
it's really beautiful listening to, the contributions that are coming in, and some of the limiting aspects in women coming out in order to accelerate their own action and pave their own way in terms of where they see themselves going, is exactly in that particular aspect that Dr. Mimmie was talking about, the situationship that women find themselves in. So some of the women I work with regards to their progress in life are limited because of where they find themselves, particularly in the diaspora. We don't have the community that we had back home. The support system that we had back home in terms of your parents and your siblings and the aunts and the uncles. And now you are here, you find yourself, I don't know whether that's genuine, but find yourself falling in love, and this person now becomes the pillar in terms of the support that you need. And you surrender your power to this person because the person kind of now dictates what has to happen in your life, how much you need, where you can go, and all those things. And because of a survival mindset, you succumb to these limitations, and therein is the limitation of any action that you would have accelerated even for yourself. So
Mm.
I just want to highlight the fact that, if as women we can open ourselves up to the worldwide network that we are a part of.
Mhm.
When I was looking at this theme, that is what was coming up for me.
Mm.
The many initiatives that are going on all over the world
Mhm.
just to support the elevation and the advancement of women and girls into their next level. But
Yeah.
we get limited because of our own, four
Mm.
walls that we put ourselves in. We do not realize that we are a part of a bigger community. And
Mhm.
sometimes, it's what we do to each other that, kind of builds the walls between us. But if we are mature enough, we can look beyond that and honestly become a part and parcel of, a community that is providing the support that you could have gotten when you were back home, wherever back home is, so that you are able to propel yourself forward.
Thank you for going there because well, I also wrote here the international students. Some people came here as international student and then they brought their partner or their partner, they're all international. A husband and wife are both international. They are struggling. And so at this time, nobody knows the purpose doesn't even come in. You're just trying to barely make and just have the meal of the day. And so by the time and maybe before the marriage or connection, you don't know each other as much. By the time you get to know each other, you now know that this woman you have, she was poor. That's why she was quiet. She actually has the fire. She wants to pursue. And then the strife starts. You can't pursue anything. You've been very quiet. I've been giving you like potato and gravy every day. You were quiet. Now you're talking. I think education is very important to let the men know also that your wife cannot be poor forever. And hardly any woman is stupid, by the way. Women, I'm not being feminist here. I'm just saying the fact. It's known that women, they grow very fast, faster than the men. So you see 10-year-old girl far brilliant, sharper than the men. So there's hardly any stupid woman. Don't take any woman for granted. Love them for what they are. Marry them for what they are. And if they want to achieve anything in life, support that course. Don't try to pull any God fabricated strong woman because God created everybody, created them the way they are. Some people are very laid back, some people are passionate and purposeful like this. Some people they're fine. So depends on who you get as a wife. I want to say to the man, just calm down because eventually everyone loses. You're gonna lose, she's gonna lose. You might build up eventually, but it's gonna take both parties to get to where they're going to. So education to accelerate, I think it was you that said, Deborah, let's take our sons, let's take our brother, let's take our father, let's take our husbands. Even if your husband is trying to pull any woman's down, shut him up. Excuse me, just leave my friend. You don't know, she might be struggling. It's not up to you to judge. Just teach the men in your life. Don't stay there and gas bag with them to bring anybody down, to bring your girlfriend down. I cannot stress that enough. So when we say to accelerate, I want to say accelerate starts from you. And accelerate, like Deborah said, it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be just the little contribution. I'm going to go to where Remi Yusuf is doing something today. I just want to support my friend. Oh, we want to have a movie night. It's okay. We can always have movie night, honey. Remi is not going to always do this event. Support your girlfriend, all right, if you can do. I'm going to say that. The second thing I want to say also, this is how to mitigate these issues of why we're slow, but it's good to hear that, Liz said 19, 20, 38 is it when we're going to be seeing any sign or anything. But I think if we don't even try the little that we're trying today, it's going to even be farther. The other thing is I want to talk to the ladies as well by for mentorship. You've heard all the ladies' stories. You haven't even heard my story. You haven't even heard Lizzie's story. You haven't even heard Remi's story. We have stories. But the ones you heard, I mean, I almost want to say, does it take second chance for you to be glowing like Deborah and and Mimmie. No, that's not the point. But seriously, um, you need to be respectful when you want to have mentorship. I'm not gonna say that maybe I'm older than Mimmie, I'm this, that Mimmie. Mimmie has the qualification that I don't have. Mimmie, I might have some experience in this area, but I don't have this experience that Mimmie has got in United Nations. You want to go there, she's going to be able to hold your hand and say, this is a seat they allocated for us. If you're here, like what is happening in Nigeria now, you have to sit here to be seen. She's the one to show you. So respect that experience. You can't put money value on experience. I don't know how many millions of dollars, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars these people have used to study. So they're not just doctor for nothing, you know. And also for Deborah's experience, if you take some chemical that Deborah is using and you don't know how to use it, you don't do data sheet, whatever they study for you, you're just going to burn yourself for this greatness. So I want to say to our ladies, I see from the ladies some lack of respect. I've seen quite a lot. So if you lack respect for somebody's achievement, you might not get it. You might not achieve it. Whatever you respect, you can attract and you can get. I know that for a fact. So if I go to Remi and say, you did doctorate in psychology, I want to do it, she's a lecturer. She can tell me how this as well as that, this is how you do it for you to pass the exams, right? So if I don't respect that and take her for granted, you're not going to get it. So when you are saying accelerating, I'm saying accelerate with respect and with collaboration and with education. Educate yourself, educate your husband. I'm doing whatever I'm saying I'm doing. I'm doing that. I'm very fortunate. I have the best respectful man. I have my son everywhere I go. Even yesterday, an Indian lady still came to me in my shop and said, you got the best son ever. Respectful. They will not, if you abuse any lady, they will not touch any lady. They will, respect. This is the thing that I do as well, and I practice. So I'm going to stop there. And I think we've got another comment. I think it was this accelerate action can be taken a step back and look at one thing that you can prepare you forward. That is brilliant. So you don't need to do everything. Mimmie is one of those ones. She's very busy, but she looks at you with whatever you're doing. She recognizes what you're doing, and she will actually tell you and validate you. Some people will look at this program now and say, oh, what are they doing? What is Temi doing? There's some bunch of ladies. Mimmie, that is got more than you. Will ring me. I'm saying more. I mean, experience. I mean, money and everything. She's got everything, right? So, truthfully, like what self-actualization, you have it, right? I know you to your house. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway, so she's still validating what we're doing on this platform and saying it's really good for us to come together and share our experience. What experiences that you ladies have shared today, money cannot get it. They will never be able to hear your story anywhere if like this, openly and honestly, the way you are doing it. But on this platform, you're vulnerable and you can tell us and we can ask you any questions. I just want to say from my heart, I really appreciate you. I've done all my contribution. I'm going to give opportunity to anybody to advise us how more can we mitigate, how can we propel and accelerate. I like what Tessie said, little thing, one little thing. So please share, and then we're going to round it up.
I would like to say, look, as women, we are in many different areas where we do things and we contribute to quite a number of activities, and we sit at decision-making panels. There's quite a bit that we can do as women to support the gender equality drive and also to help support the acceleration of action in those areas. And that one of those little ways in which we can come in is having a mentee for ourselves. have somebody you mentor. That yes, there are platforms that provide for mentorship and programs where girls and other women can participate in. But you yourself as an individual, find a mentee that you can bring on board, that you can show, the ropes. That's the language we use.
Yeah.
Somebody you can show the ropes. Somebody for whom you can open a door. Somebody for whom you can advocate. If there is an opportunity for you to step up for somebody, use that opportunity so that you can help somebody to at least have a better today or a better tomorrow, any minute way, whatever it is. And that is how little we can start with this support. If it is an application form that somebody has submitted and you are sitting on the table, advocate for these women. If like sometimes when we come in here, you need somebody to step up for you when it comes to your rentals. You don't just get a rent, get approved for rent. And sometimes we've got to run around, trying to find somebody who can sign that something or be that referee for you. If we can have platforms that says, newcomers, here are the opportunities. This is where you can hear what you need to do and where you need to go. Help that one person and be that referee for that person. You can really change somebody's life by just doing one little thing for somebody on that one particular moment. So let's be aware of, how we move in this life in order to spot those opportunities in which we can really make a difference for one girl, for one woman, one day.
I like I like that. I like that. I was gonna say, Dr. Remi and Mimmie and myself, that's our life. That's our job. But what I'm going to contribute, Remi, people live in our house. I send people to a balcony for nothing. Mimmie, the same thing. Me, every day in my life. But one thing is a good point you said, please. But what I want to say is when you do it to somebody, can that person do it for somebody else? I know somebody that we literally did everything at the community, everything, as in everything, And somebody went to her after she's established to help her with one little thing. And she said no. And they came to me to tell me this. Why are you doing that? When somebody lends you a helping hand, can you lend somebody else's? And when you do that, it means whatever they've done to you, you are disrespectful of that thing. You don't even appreciate it. And that's another big talk on it entirely. When you help people, you can even put your head down. And this is the people that you brought from literally gutter. You brought them from gutter. Now they're standing, they're riding Mercedes. And they forgot to help somebody else, and they forgot you ever helped them. How do you continue to help like that when you're burning yourself to help? Mimmie, please go ahead.
Well, I guess I have really valid points from Liz in particular. I really appreciate that mentoring element of it. But I also wanted to say that we must recognize that Africa has got some really incredible men. So I think that should really be acknowledged and validated, and they've got their own struggles as well. And because they've got those other struggles, then they face challenges that because of culture and patriarchy, they may not be able to express them. And through my works across the globe, I can never tell you how much value and respect that I receive, especially from men in the African continent and here. And I continue to say that. So I feel very, very honored all the time when I sit around those people, because I learn a lot and a lot of wisdom, and they validate me. That gives me strength. Then in relation to when we talk about men, for me, it's not about the color of the skin, it is about the individual. All right. So always remember that it is about the individual. And while I may have support to achieve what I am doing at the home level, it's up to me to apply my brains. It's up to me to apply my skills. Nothing comes there and meets you. You need to actually work hard every day. I cannot tell people how many meetings I was teaching. I had 2 lectures today, master students, 2 classes, and I was also I had research meetings at the same time. But this was important, and I was not going to not join in because I am busy. I have to prioritize, and you have to therefore learn to prioritize. Hence, when we talk about accelerating action, it is about refusing to settle for incremental progress, as Liz highlighted before, because it is about creating ecosystems now for every woman, especially for the Black girls, so that they can see themselves as leaders as well. Because if they don't see themselves as leaders, how do you think they're going to shape the future? But think about Black women in particular as innovators, as community anchors. We are the people who have always held culture in our hands. Think of us as people who possess these unique abilities to
Mhm.
propel people forward. And
Mhm.
because we have those unique abilities, let's harness in ourselves, let's invest in us. You must invest in you. You must invest in you. And when you invest in you, also invest in others around you.
Yeah.
Invest in your sons. We have them for the first 10, 15 years of their lives. So we've got profound opportunity to influence how they value and how they look at women and girls. And on that note, I want to say Happy International Women's Day. But again, look at Sahara piercing the tight ceiling, which is about the woman that represents all of you in this room called Sahara. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Deborah, your last word before we go.
Wow. I have just got to say passion. If you have been watching this entire show live or you watch it on the replay, one thing that I can guarantee is going to stand out is the passion that comes from the voices we want to share. Um, there's so much in here for every single woman out there, girl, and our men. And this is the other thing that I wanted to highlight too, is that we shouldn't be fighting fire with fire, right?
Mm,
As we want to empower our women, we have to bring our men along with us. We have to educate them. So starting with our boys and things like that. So it's I just want to say that if you haven't heard it already, you are the most powerful person standing in front of that mirror. And you know what propelled me in my corporate was that people, managers above me, executives above me said things to me like, you're a natural leader, you do so well at this, you do this. So, I was hearing all of this feedback and I'm like going, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know who you're talking about because that doesn't sound like me at all. But I had to realize that I had to listen to what the external was telling me because I wasn't in a place to recognize all of those things myself.
mm,
So if you're hearing those, grab them and start to realize, hang on, there is something in this. Maybe I need to be looking inside myself to acknowledge and accept it. In our culture, in our multiculture, I had to learn to accept praise. People
yeah.
would people would say to me, you're so good at this, or you're beautiful, and I would just go, and I'd turn away, or I'd just ignore it. It
Mm,
took me a long time to accept to get
wow.
praise. So it
Mm,
starts with us. It absolutely starts with us. And I started off with this about passion. You have passion inside you. Don't ignore it. This is the
yeah.
first thing. Don't ignore that beating that's going on inside of you that's trying to express something. Allow it to come forward because you have a voice and you are so powerful. And deliberately living you, is a phrase that I use because that's what it's about, is that we have to bring that passion forward. So, um, I am so energized and so pumped by just what I've heard from all of you beautiful women here that I'm fortunate to share this panel with. Like I said, I'm already accelerated and lifted
Amen. That's what we want.
because of this. So And we can do that. Exactly. Let's go out and make sure that somebody gets what we've got to give. And yeah, it is about paying forward. If you're gonna
Pay
receive this,
forward.
you pass it on.
Yes.
Make sure that you're doing it, because you know what? That's the one accelerating step. Because you know what? 2158. Sorry, I'm not waiting for 2158 for our horse. We're doing it. We're
Let's
doing
say
those
that.
steps now and bringing that date forward.
That's right. We're doing
Love
it
it.
now.
Let's pay it forward. Dr. Remi Yusuf, you're paying, but keep paying. Don't get tired doing good.
Thank you so much. Like you said, you do when you do something because you want people to see you do it, then you are not doing it.
That's
But
right.
when you do something, I remember when I was growing up, we have this prayer that we say all the time: to give and not to count the cost.
Mm,
So when you give and you don't count the cost,
mm,
you continue to give. Not everyone will be able to do that, but continue to do it. And I'm going to speak to the men as well, because we can't just accelerate action by ourselves as women. We need the men alongside of us in anything that we do.
mm,
To have the gender equality, we need the men to be able to speak alongside us, not over us, but alongside us. Ask yourself as a man, if this woman is my daughter, would I be able to, would I be happy if this is happening to them?
to
If
them.
the answer is no, then don't do it.
Don't do it.
My phone is going to die very soon, so I'm going to cut it short. So let's continue to do good, either you're a man or a woman. As a man, remember you are born of a woman. So if you don't treat women right, it turns around to come to you. So when people would say, oh, why do we celebrate women? Because every human being is born of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a woman is not an easy thing.
No.
They need to be celebrated. Let's continue to celebrate women. Let's continue to accelerate women. Let's continue to respect women. Let's
Mm-hmm.
continue to give them the dignity and recognition that they deserve as the mother of the nation, the mother of the universe. Let's continue to recognize that and get that. Then the world will be a better place to live in. Thank you. And happy International Women's Day, everyone.
I'm not going to say anything more than that. Happy International Women's Day. Amazing, powerful, passion. Go out there, pay forward, one little step at a time, and the world will be revolutionized by you women doing a little at a time. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies. Amazing. Have a
Thank
good time.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.